an epic journey of nature. Africa's Great Migration is the largest animal migration on Earth and one of nature's most dramatic and epic events. It's not just a simple movement, but a relentless struggle of life and death that has been going on for millions of years. This annual migration primarily takes place between two vital wildlife reserves in East Africa, Tanzania's Serengeti National Park and Kenya's Maasai Mara Game Reserve. The main participants in this colossal journey are approximately 1.5 million wildebeest, followed by more than 200,000 zebra and several hundred thousand Thompson's gazelle, eland, and impala. The collective thunder of this massive herd's hooves and the storm of dust they raise create a breathtaking spectacle. They travel a distance of nearly 800 to 1,600 kilometers in search of fresh grass and water. This migration is often described as the eighth wonder of the world, not only because of its sheer size, but also for its intensity, danger, and the extraordinary display of the animal's collective willpower. This event is an integral part of nature, where every stage of the life cycle, birth, life, and death, is visible all at once. Reasons and purpose of the migration. The main driving force behind the migration is the relentless search for fresh grass and water. If the wildebeest and other herbivores stay in one place for too long, the grass there is quickly depleted, so they must constantly search for new grazing grounds to survive. The changing seasons of East Africa govern the availability of this food and water. When it rains, grass grows, and the herds travel in that direction. When the rain stops in an area and the ground dries up, they begin their journey once again, in search of new green pastures and water. Weather is the primary regulator of this entire migration cycle. It acts like the hands of a clock. The pattern of rainfall at different times of the year determines the migration's path and duration. January to March, calving season in southern Serengeti. At the beginning of the year, the herds stay in the southern part of Tanzania's Serengeti National Park, particularly in the Ndutu Plains. This is the calving season. Within just a few weeks, hundreds of thousands of wildebeest calves are born. The soft grass and abundant water create an ideal environment for these newborns. However, this season also presents a feasting opportunity for predators. April to June, the journey northward. By late April, as the grass in the southern Serengeti begins to dry out, the herds start their journey west and north. Along this route, they move through the Serengeti's western corridor. By June, they reach the Grumeti River. Crossing this river is the first major challenge of the journey. July to October, the Mara River crossing. This period marks the most dramatic part of the migration. From July to October, the wildebeest herds attempt to cross the Mara River to enter Kenya's Maasai Mara Game Reserve. The river is filled with hundreds of hungry crocodiles and other predators. Thousands of wildebeest plunge into the river at once, creating an incredible sight for nature lovers. After surviving this perilous river crossing, they reach the lush pastures of the Maasai Mara. November to December, the southern return. By November, a short rainy season begins in East Africa. This causes new grass to grow in the southern Serengeti. Once again, drawn by this fresh grass, the wildebeest herds begin their journey back south, from the Maasai Mara towards the Serengeti. By December, they arrive back in the southern Serengeti, ready for the new year, when the calving season will begin all over again. This is how the Great Migration completes a full cycle, telling the story of nature and the continuous struggle for survival. Each stage of this cycle follows nature's own rules, which makes this event even more fascinating. Challenges and dangers of the migration. The Great Migration is not just a beautiful spectacle. It is a journey fraught with terrifying challenges for the wildlife. At every moment of this long trek, their lives are at risk. Predators follow the massive herds of wildebeest, zebra, and gazelles. Lions, cheetahs, hyenas, and African wild dogs prey on the weak and sick animals in the herd. These predators lie in wait along the migration route, as this is an essential part of nature's food chain. They hunt to keep the wildlife population in check, ensuring that only the strongest survive. The most dramatic and dangerous part of this journey is crossing the Mara and Grumeti rivers. These rivers are home to large populations of hungry crocodiles that wait eagerly for the migration. When thousands of wildebeest plunge into the water together, many animals die from being trampled or are swept away by the strong currents. This is often called the most lethal river crossing, as the animals must fight off both crocodile attacks and the river's powerful flow. Sudden floods or prolonged droughts make the migration path even more difficult. Sometimes, a region experiences unexpected heavy rainfall or flooding during the migration, making river crossings even more perilous. Conversely, if a drought lasts too long in an area, many animals die from starvation or thirst due to a lack of food and water. Although most of the migration path runs through protected areas, in some places, human settlements, fences, and other infrastructure obstruct the animals' natural route. This creates new dangers for the animals and disrupts their long-standing journey. These challenges transform the Great Migration from a mere journey into an epic tale of life and death. Despite facing these dangers, the animals continue this journey for survival, making it an incredible example of nature's resilience. Ecological significance of the Great Migration. The Great Migration is not just a spectacular event, it is also a vital process for maintaining the ecological balance of East Africa's ecosystem. The Great Migration creates a crucial balance between predator and prey. On one hand, it provides a plentiful food supply for lions, cheetahs, hyenas, and other predators. The weak and sick animals are easily hunted during this journey, which helps keep the predator population healthy. On the other hand, this process ensures that only the strongest and healthiest wildebeest and zebras survive, which improves the genetic quality of future generations. This process also enhances soil fertility. The droppings of millions of animals enrich the soil, making it more nutritious and helping new plant life grow. Additionally, seeds from various plants cling to the animal's fur and hooves and are dispersed from one location to another during the migration. In this way, they naturally spread seeds, helping to create new pastures and enrich the ecosystem. Another important aspect is the regulation of plant growth. When wildebeest, zebras, and gazelles graze in herds, they eat excessive amounts of grass, which allows new grass to grow. This prevents overgrowth of plants in a specific area and ensures the health of the vegetation. This grazing process also prepares the soil, which later helps it retain rainwater. The migration as an ecological engine. The Great Migration keeps the biodiversity of the region active. Predators maintain a process of natural selection through their hunting, which keeps the entire ecosystem healthy. This entire event creates a complex and effective relationship between wildlife, plants, and other microorganisms, making the East African ecosystem unique. These reasons prove that the Great Migration is not just an animal journey, it is an ecological engine that plays an essential role in keeping the East African ecosystem dynamic and healthy. Economic and conservation impact. Africa's Great Migration is not just a natural phenomenon, it has a huge impact on the economies of East African countries, especially Kenya and Tanzania. Every year, thousands of tourists from all over the world come to witness this incredible sight, which helps keep the local economy running. The revenue from tourism is used for wildlife conservation and anti-poaching efforts. This money is utilized for things like national park maintenance, salaries for anti-poaching units, and wildlife health monitoring. This ensures the protection of the migration route and the animals themselves. Tourists become aware of the importance of wildlife conservation and indirectly contribute to these efforts. In this way, the Great Migration has created an effective model of coexistence between nature and humans, where people can benefit economically by conserving nature. It proves that environmental care and economic development can be complementary to each other. A timeless epic of life. The Great Migration is not just an annual event, it is a unique epic of nature and life. It is an integral part of the East African ecosystem, which has been following the same rules for millions of years. The collective thunder of the hooves of the wildebeest, zebras, and other animals in this vast journey is like a hymn to life itself. It reminds us of the struggle for survival in nature and how every animal is a crucial part of the food chain. While the migration shows us the incredible resilience of wildlife, it also carries an important message for humanity. Due to climate change, human encroachment, and the destruction of wildlife habitats, these natural
natural events are now under threat. The importance of wildlife conservation and environmental protection is paramount to ensure that the rhythm of this epic is not disrupted in the future. The Great Migration is nature's own philosophy. It teaches us how life continues on its own terms and how every challenge must be overcome to survive. This extraordinary event is therefore not just a sight to behold, but an eternal symbol of life, struggle, and hope.